Ugh, this new recording thing is weird.
I wonder if that's like a liability thing. They have to say that now. Okay, please unmute yourself if you need to say something. Otherwise, oops. Here we go. So do a little check for yourself and just stand with your feet pointed straight ahead and feel what's happening in your own body this morning. Check in. If you close your eyes, where's the weight on your feet? In an ideal world, our shoulders are straight across, our hips are straight across, our hips, knees, and ankles are all in line with each other. That basic design lets us know that the gait muscles help us walk, our shoulder muscles counter rotate as we move, and the spine has those natural curves that are really a pretty marvelous work of art. So, feet pointed straight ahead. Let's go ahead and start with our elbow curls today. Fold your fingers to your palms, bring your hands down, hands at your temples. Take a deep breath. Bring the breath into the east-west direction in your rib cage. Open that space. And just standing and bringing our arms up like this changes the way our thoracic back sits over our pelvis. So just that will start to affect all the way down. In fact, I can feel it in my thigh on the knee that gets a little swollen, that as my arms come up like this and stay like this, that thigh muscle is beginning to act differently. So I know that my upper back is changing relative to my pelvis. All right, elbows all the way together so they touch, and all the way back. 25. Feel the shoulder blades wrap around, working the elbows like a hinge. And release. Fold your fingers to your palms. Place your arms down by your sides. Pinch your shoulder blades together. Bring your arms up. Strong and straight elbows. Relax your belly, unless your pelvis falls forward when you do that. But as long as your pelvis stays in good alignment there, keep it there. And then really feel the muscles on the backside of your shoulders. You can even release your shoulders away from your spine for a moment, and then hug them back in, making the bottom edge of that shoulder come back. Let's do that a couple times. Bring your arms in front of you. Just change it up. So bring the shoulder blades back onto your back. Feel both of them do that. Feel that affect the upper back. And then press them away from you. Let's go palms facing each other, hands in that golfer's grip, together. And just like that tennis player, notice with your arms being held up like this, do you feel the muscles on either side of your deltoid, this muscle that should hold your arm up? Is that what's working? And then as you push your shoulder blades off your back and squeeze them toward your back, is it similar on both sides? Or do you have different muscles working? And just like Pete said, let's change the stimulus. So we'll do the same thing. Let's go left foot forward. So most people may have a right shoulder that's tighter if they're right side, right-handed, or that gets shifts. So Bring the weight to the midline of your body. Put both big toes down, and just notice that standing on a balance beam like that will force different muscles in your body to stabilize. And then lift your arms up. Go back to that same exercise. Retract your shoulder blades, and then protract your shoulder blades, pushing them off your back. And notice what that changes. So we have serratus muscles on the side. Good. Just bring your arms down and up. Asking the shoulder blade to rotate as you bring your arms up. And because we live in a body with two sides, let's switch to the other side. 1 foot forward, right foot forward, and then arms up. Feel the muscles that hold the arms up. And then squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. Feel the middle back engage. Does that make your elbows want to bend? Can you do that with strong, straight elbows? And press them apart. Squeeze. Press. 10 of those. Now, you could modify this if that was going in too much into the neck by bringing your arms down and still squeezing the shoulder blades and pushing them apart with your arms down. That would take it a little bit out of this deltoid and trapezius muscle. Good, and then arms over your head, like a pullover, all the way up, all the way down. Good. Switch feet again. Left foot forward, right foot back. This time, open your arms out wide. So externally rotate. So we're going more into the shoulder blade, scapula stabilizers, and rotator cuff. Bring them back and then bring them in. Bring the weight to the insides of your feet. Feel your big toes, forcing your body to work in that really different position. Notice if you feel different things happening in that back hip. Shoulder blades open onto your back. And as you do that, we're letting muscles change position from the shoulder blade down the back into the hip, back in. Think about one side of your psoas right now. That back leg, just a little bit of hip extension. Switch. Feet like you're on a balance beam, weight to the insides of your feet. So adductors working to pull those legs in right now. And open it up. So just like that tennis player, we could also say playing golf isn't what irritates your back, the body that you take into the golf game and its ability to rotate correctly would be what is challenging. Okay, switch again, left foot forward, right leg back. This time bring your hand behind your head, and let's introduce some little squats. So elbows go back, head over shoulders, over hips, over knees, and then down into a bit of a squat. Feel the edge of that ankle flexibility, and then stand back up. 10 times. Down. Lots of little stabilizing muscles are having to figure out what their role is right now. Feel your big toes, pressing your big toes down into the floor. As you go down each time, maybe you can get a little bit lower as the body, the central nervous system, lets those muscles that have a chemical reaction of lengthening between all the filaments. Great. Switch sides. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. 10 little squats. Weight to the insides of your big toes, down and up. Feel the edge of that ankle flexibility. Feel it translate as you go down, what's happening in the front of the ankle, the back of the ankle, up into the hip, up into the upper back. And release. Both feet pointed straight ahead. Fold your fingers to touch your palms, arms out to the side. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. We'll go back to those arm circles now. Feel the two sides, just even as you lift the arms. What muscles are lifting your arms? Is it the same? Can you squeeze now? Shoulder blades hug into spine. So arm bone in. And do you notice that changes anything all the way down the line into your legs? Really hug in. The body is a unit. Circle forward, 40 circles. Changing the position of the load joints changes what's happening through the whole system. And release. Palms up. Squeeze. Does it feel the same on both sides? Circle backwards. And release. Nice. That should be opening your upper back in a way that makes that feel like the shoulders have more movement. And then come down onto your back. We're going to use the floor and gravity to come into hip flexor lifts. So as you come down, feet on the floor, knees bent, and first just feel this position on the floor. Feet on the floor, knees bent should have a slight curve in your low back. Check what's happening between your pelvis and your rib cage. You can gently tuck your shoulders underneath you and then just let them relax. Up on your toes and move your leg slightly away from your body. And then lift and lower that leg. We're going to do 30 hip flexor lifts, straight up and down, keeping your foot, your knee, and your hip in alignment. And nothing else gets to move. Everything else is just resting on the floor. So just that hip flexor lifts and lowers that leg. Excuse me, someone is at the door. I'll be right back. Keep going. Huh? Just you? Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. Okay, other side. Up on your right toes, left leg moving away from you. Lift and lower that leg 30 times. And then switch. Up on your toes, back to the first side. One more set. Keeping that hip spinning in the hip socket. And if there was any rotation that was happening when you're walking, you're beginning to let that hip flexor engage without a big extra rotation in your pelvis. Should be getting tired. And switch sides once again. If there were other muscles that were compensating for that action, you may feel things start to release. Second side, second set. Up on your right toes, lifting and lowering that left leg. And release it down. Come on to your hands and knees. Round and arch your back in a cat and dog. So hands down, knees under hips, hands under shoulders, and move between flexion and extension. And then tuck your toes under, hover your knees off the floor, and come into a little bit of a like crouching cat position. Abdominals working, hips working, holding this position here in your body. And breathe. head in line with the rest of your spine. Curve at your neck, gentle rounding through your upper back, gentle arch at your low back. Notice your toes. Do they both tuck the same? How are your thighs? How's the balance between the two sides? And then come down. Come into a plank on your elbows. Tucking your toes under again. Separating your feet so that they're wide apart. Let's hold this for about 30 seconds. Tucking your toes, feeling your thighs work, your belly work. And then roll to one side, come up onto that elbow. You can take any modification of this that you need to, bringing one leg up, coming down onto your knees, or just holding like this. Come back to stable. And then other side, hips and shoulders move like a board, coming all the way up, stabilizing there. Letting all of those muscles around your shoulder blade work. Back to square one more time. Up onto that shoulder, holding it, down to plank, and up again. Back to the center, release it. And coming down, back onto your back. Let's release those inner thighs with a frog. So bottom of your feet together, let your knees drop out to the side, inner thighs getting some length. Bring your arms up, squeeze and release your shoulders in toward your spine, and a reverse press, squeeze, feel the muscles on the two sides engaging, and release. So as you're in lumbar extension, femur driven lumbar extension, you're also going to ask for a bit of thoracic extension, taking any rounding out of your upper back. Ten more squeezes, hug them in, release. Then hands behind your head, elbows back, look at a spot slightly behind you on the ceiling and crunch straight up to that. So you are engaging your rectus abdominis, those muscles should work. We're after a little more thoracic extension from this exercise. It will also change anything left in your hips or pelvis. Come down, lift back up, curl, lower, lift. If you're able to, walk your spine a little longer, release, lift, release. Keep looking behind you, head and neck in alignment. Again, we're doing this a little bit for the abdominals, but more for changing the position all the way through that chain. We may change a hip position here. We may change a shoulder position here. And bring your legs back in. Foot circles, point flexes. Drop, let's go left first. Right leg out, hold the left leg in, shoulders down and back. Circle your foot all the way around, 20 circles. Reverse. Point and flex.
That bottom leg is learning how to line up those load joints again, ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, and this bent leg is learning foot strike so that your gait can be more proper without foot turned out or hips out of alignment or extra rotation happening. Switch sides. Circle all the way around. Crunch is in my ankle today. $20 the other way. And point and flex. Go ahead and release that. Pelvic tilts. Rock it back and forward. Moving your, stabilizing the leg bones and moving the pelvis. Spine through the shoulder girdle. Excellent. Let's do one more hip move while we're down here. Let's go left leg first again. So right leg extended straight, left leg, hold it up there. With that leg held up there, we have internal and external rotation capacity with our lower leg into our hip. This way going, femur going external, ankle coming across your body, should be about a 45-degree rotation. So rotate it there and then keep working those rotators and find the muscles that actually do that rotation in your hip. Knee pointed straight up to the ceiling, pulling that ankle towards you. Keep going. Find those rotators. So external rotators of the hip are butt muscles, deep six. And then square that up. And then take the ankle to the outside. So that's internal femur rotation without moving anything else in your trunk. You might feel that hip want to hike up. Let that rotate out. We should have about a 40-degree rotation, internal rotation, ankle outside. Keep working that. Find the muscles in that hip that do that job. Some are on the inside of your leg, some are on the outside, glute medius and minimus. So you might feel it kind of out here in the outside of your hip. Back to square. Now again, take it across your body. Square and ankle wide. Find those muscles in the hip. Rotate. Notice the other muscles that want to help. And release. Switch sides. Pull that leg up, hip flexion, and then external rotation of the femur. Bringing that ankle towards you. And then finding the muscles. Where are they? What are the muscles that are actually doing that rotation in the hip? Is one hip really different than the other? How's the balance between the two sides? Then internal rotation of the femur, taking the ankle outside of your body, and notice that one. Where are those muscles? Can you find them? What wants to compensate for that action? Again, coming across your body, external rotation of the femur, bringing it up, holding it there. Again, back to neutral and internal rotation of the femur. Find those muscles that rotate that hip. Keeping the knee straight up and down. And release. Pelvic tilts once again. Both feet on the floor. Move your pelvis over those stable femurs. Hopefully that feels more smooth. And then roll onto your belly. Hold your hands under your forehead. First, just take a couple breaths. Feel your spine move into gentle lumbar extension as this curve starts to come into your low back. Gentle rounding at your thoracic back. Feel your front ribs tuck under and have that just little curve on your neck by letting your hands be underneath your forehead. Take your left leg, bend it up. Move that leg out wide as far as you can. Then we're moving into this lateral hip area. Then slide it back together. Take it out again. Out wide, nothing else gets to move. Abduct that leg as far as you're able to. This time we'll add this rotation, external rotation, letting the ankle come down to the inside, somewhere to the floor if it will go. Then internal rotation as you bring that back up. Then slide the leg back in. Good. Abduct the hip out. Then external rotation at the hip. Return, internal rotation at the hip. Bring it back in. Again, out, in, up, slide. Out, in, lift, slide. Keep going. Switch sides. Up, slide the leg as far as it'll go. Add that rotation, letting the ankle come down toward the floor, lifting it up, slide the leg back in. Abduct as far as it'll go, rotate, lift, back in. Out, in, lift, slide. Out, in, lift, slide. And press back up onto your hands and knees. Let's do that. Cats and dogs with more articulation this time. So start at the low belly, let the back drop into extension through the middle back into the space between the shoulders. Let your shoulder blades sink all the way together, lift your head. Then tuck your chin, let it go down, make space between your neck. Shoulder blades, push them all the way up off your back. Finally, engage your belly muscles. Push the spine into gentle rounding. Tuck the tailbone, even find the glutes. Then lift your tailbone. Move through each segment of your spine. And then Do one where the spine moves, but the shoulder blades don't sink together. So through the middle back without a protraction of the shoulder blade, just through the spine, still up into the head and neck, and chin down, round through the low belly and low back. Awesome. Come down onto your side, upper spinal floor twist. Knees bent, stacked, one arm right above the other. Slowly move. Mind your own body and feel if it's okay. If you pull your knees up a little more, it might be easier to twist. If this doesn't feel good to you, skip it. You could not rotate. Just stay here. You could work on some side shoulder movements. If it feels okay to let the ribs begin to separate and turn, knees stay stacked, stabilizing at the hip. Allowing rotation to happen through your spine. Untwist. Switch to the other side. Knees and hips stacked. Open up that upper arm. Go slowly. Allow each of the segments to begin to separate, rotate, and move. It's complex in here between multifidus and longissimus and all of these deep spinal muscles that need to coordinate, contracting on one side and lengthening on the other to allow that spinal rotation to happen, as well as in your obliques. Some people have actually done too much core strengthening, and so their abs are on lockdown and they don't want to allow this spinal rotation to happen. The body wants to keep you safe. And then come up to neutral. Just give your body a moment to just settle again, and then come into a hip crossover. Left ankle crossed over the right knee, all the way down to the floor, palms down. Look to the left. Press the left knee away from you, opening up that hip, external rotation into that lumbar extension, addressing any pelvic rotation or disparity that might still be there. Hold and breathe. Come on up. Switch. Come on up. Pelvic tilts once more. Feet on the floor. Rock it backward and forward. And then let's just add some stability to your pelvis by grabbing your strap. If you don't have a strap, you could use your block also. Tighten it down so that it's fist width apart. Go back to that neutral position. And then press out on your strap. Press and release. Press, release. See if you can press and hold out on the strap and feel the rotation that it's asking for. So abduction of the hip, TFL, glutes, pulling out on that strap. And what does that do up the whole chain? Can you notice if your shoulders want to help you or if you can let them relax by that pressure out on the hip? And as the femur rotates into a better position in the pelvis, or at least a more bilateral position in the pelvis, how does that translate all the way up into the shoulders? So keep going, press and hold. Let's do 1 more minute with that press and hold. We'll build some endurance into that hip position. Add the breath, big full breaths into the rib cage. Keep going, press out, hold. And release. Go ahead and remove the strap. Come all the way to standing. And find a spot for an air bench today to end. To end the exercise portion at least. Walk yourself down. Go ahead and press that low back flat to the wall. And then upper back all the way up. If you can lift your toes. Work those thighs. And come all the way up. Okay, recheck your position again. How does that feel? Let's
go through a quick scan. If you go up on your toes, do you feel like your calves are working the same? How about hamstrings? Can you feel behind your legs? Are they firing? Come on down. Turn your toes out. Check your butt muscles. Are they coming into a bilateral squeeze? Does it feel the same or similar on both sides? If not, do a couple squeezes just to make sure they're working. And then back to straight. Tighten up your thigh muscles by lifting your kneecaps up and check, do you have bilateral activation of your thighs?
Sorry about that. I lost my Zoom. Where's my picture? There we go.
You have it? You got thigh muscles? Okay, up into shoulders. Give me a quick shoulder squeeze. How's that? Similar? And let's go elbows all the way together and hold that. So we kind of did a quick scan around the body and then check one more thing. Bend over like you're going to touch your toes. You can bend your knees if you need to, hip hinge, however that works for you. Take it over. And then use your butt muscles to come back up. And then lie down or sit down for a couple minutes. Whatever position you feel most grounded in today, come into that position and first just really feel your body in contact with the floor wherever it is. And then I want you to just squeeze everything in your body. Hug it to the midline, squeeze fists, make a face, go into the full contraction of your body. And then soften into the expansion. Do that one more time. Squeeze in everywhere. Hug to the midline. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Go into the contraction of every muscle that you know where it is. All 639 or more. Kudos. And soften. And then allow whatever is touching the floor to just be completely supported. Notice breath. And drop back from anything besides what's right here in the present moment. Notice your senses. You can hear, smell, taste, touch. You can witness what's arising in the space. Drop back again. be in a space where there's no effort. Have the awareness of the space that's bigger than just your physical body, energetic body, wisdom body, the energy field that is beyond just body space. Start to notice that. And then notice whatever arises in that space without doing anything about it. We are made up of energy. It's really all there is. That energetic vibration is supported by our friends in this community, by working on our bodies, by taking responsibility for our health. By noticing that we have space to witness what's arising and that moment of pausing before action. We also can align our actions with our hearts. So that we move from our highest vibration and support others to move into their higher vibration as well. Take one more full deep breath. Bring the breath into that new space that we created in your rib cage, in your shoulders, in and around your hips. Thank you as always for being here, showing up, contributing. It really makes a difference. Thank you, thank you. Come back around, check in.
Thank you. We're back in Park City.